I think I may have found the worst passenger ever, though, and it's United Airlines, United Flight 728 passenger John Yurkovich, who you have a picture of, I think. His flight was headed from New Jersey to guess where? Miami.
Yeah.
Luckily, they stopped this guy before he hit the streets of Miami this weekend, where he would have been a crucial part of the shitstorm. Thank God Yurkovich didn't get to those Miami streets, guys. Instead, the flight was rerouted to Charleston, South Carolina, shortly after Yurkovich got up to use the restroom and came back agitated, quote unquote, according to victim number one. That's what we'll call him. I guess what he was upset about was that he didn't have his heavy drugs on him. So he quickly yelled for a glass of water from a flight attendant, like hit the button. He's like, I need some water. And then while she was going to get him the water, he retrieved a bag of pills from his overhead container carry-on, according to victim number one. Shortly after he downed some pills, all hell broke loose. The Yurkovich show started.
Nothing better than seeing a guy frantically going for his pill bag on a flight.
That's a bad sign.
When you're up in the air and you're just stuck in that fucking flying can with them.
Well, especially usually it just knocks you out. It's just like usually Xanax.
Usually it is people just going for Xanax, and then they're having anxiety, and then they sit down and they just pass out.
But Yurkovich being so mad that he didn't bring his pills to the bathroom is a red flag. Like that's the problem. So shortly after he downed the pills with water, the Yurkovich show started with some classic screaming at the top of his lungs and thrashing around in his seat. So he started just losing his mind in his seat. That's when victim number one tried to calm him down, which was a big mistake, because he got his glasses punched through his face that he was wearing. His glasses broken. The person next to victim number one, so must have been like a 3 wide, and Yurkovich was probably in the aisle, and the victim number one's in the middle. The person next to victim number one got punched in the temple as well. So Yurkovich was taking out the whole row. Then someone sitting behind Yurkovich tried to stop him, and he got his nose broken for the efforts. So now 3 guys, the guy behind him, the guy to the right of him, and the guy to the right of him, have gotten their faces punched in by Yurkovich.
Yurkovich is just, look, he's in fight or flight. He's going 100%. You can't go at Yurkovich unless you're also going 100%.
Yes. Boxer? I mean, at this point, with broken limbs everywhere, you'd have to assume, like Will said, you have to either hit him with a weapon or like you have.
He's going for blows. Yeah,
like you got to take him out. Yeah. So that it wasn't until though Yurkovich bit victim number one's ear clean off. So he must have been a Mike Tyson fan that the other passengers realized they had ears too, and Yurkovich needed to be stopped.
And then you just beat him senseless.
You have to, because you've got a guy with a broken glasses and missing ear. You've got a guy punched unconscious. You got a guy with a broken nose. He's taking the whole plane out. You have to take him out right now. Right?
Dog pile on Yurkovich.
Like it's in fact, it got so much the plane versus Yurkovich that after he was punching, breaking noses, and biting people's ears off all at 30,000 feet, that they let a medical doctor on board inject him with Benadryl when they subdued him. They were like screaming, they're like, do it now, and they're just like all held him down, and a doctor like went in his bag and got some Benadryl and like a needle and injected this motherfucker to knock him out.
Was it like PCP in there?
Are air marshals just not a thing anymore?
Not on this plane, I guess. It was a doctor with a Benadryl syringe that finally took Yurkovich out while 8 people were holding him down.
Wes, you feel more comfortable with an air marshal out there?
Oh, I always like to, when it first came, I would always try to find him, like everyone did. But obviously this would have been a great scenario for an air marshal to be
I think you would have had to shoot him though.
Yeah, well, maybe.
Well, you got to really reserve the shots, because I think it causes a pressurization issue, right?
Sure, but if he's broken 4 people's bones, the air marshal, unless the air marshal's a Gold Glove boxer, he's probably getting taken out too. I mean, Yurkovich
there's
was
so
on
many
one.
people on the plane, you're gonna be able to overpower Yurkovich. The people had to understand what they were working with. They didn't realize how true of a psycho he was until he broke somebody's nose and bit an ear off, and then they were like, "Oh fuck."
He was trying to tell him with the screaming and thrashing. They just weren't listening. Well,
what do you want? Just tell us what you want.
They were all trying to help him. Law enforcement officials met the aircraft upon landing, where they found Yurkovich with his hands tied behind his back at gate A2. The passengers on board and the flight attendants zip tied his hands behind his belt and put a belt around his hands behind his back, whatever. So they double tie. They did everything that they could tie behind him. They did. They didn't want him getting out of the handcuffs that they made.
Hannibal Lecter.
Yeah, they really tied this guy up, and they just left him for the cops, who found a 1.5 gram bag of meth in his pocket. So not only was he doing pills, but he snuck meth, crystal meth
Makes sense.
on the plane in his pocket.
That happens all the time, I'm sure.
So he was bringing a bunch of pills and a bunch of meth to Miami. Good thing they stopped him, because
as you do. I mean, come on, guys. It's Miami.
Yeah. Anyways, it could have been worse in Miami, guys. Yurkovich was stopped before he got to Miami. Just remember that.